Good day. Today we're looking at a captivating comic book cover, Absolute Batman. The mood is dark, intense, and somewhat claustrophobic. The dominant colours are a sickly lime green in the background, contrasting sharply with the dark attire of the main figure and the title's bright yellow. The central subject is unmistakably Bane. He is seated on what looks like a crude, imposing throne, or perhaps a medical containment chair. His massive physique dominates the panel. We can see tubes, likely carrying his performance-enhancing drug Venom, connected to his head and body, emphasising his reliance on the substance and the constant threat he represents. Crucially, Bane is holding the shattered cowl of Batman in his hand. This single detail is incredibly powerful. It suggests a story where Bane has not only defeated Batman, but has potentially broken him, mirroring the iconic Nightfall storyline where he famously broke Batman's back. The title, Absolute Batman, coupled with Bane holding the cowl, hints at a story of ultimate confrontation and perhaps the complete destruction of the Dark Knight's legacy, or will. The overall impression is that this is a story of Bane's absolute dominance and a desperate situation for Gotham and its hero. It promises a brutal and gripping narrative. The narration opens with a stark, painful confession, spoken over a dark cityscape. The truth is, I was afraid. Maybe just of naming him, making him real, conjuring him up. The visual shows figures by the water, but the eye is immediately drawn to the imposing figure of Bane in the background, massive and menacing, clearly connected to the power-enhancing Venom. The narrator continues, a desperate apology hanging in the air. But now he's here. And he's coming for you at this very moment. Wherever you are, kid, I'm sorry. The perspective then plunges into the nightmare of the memory, dominated by a massive, terrifying close-up of a figure wearing the skull-like Bane mask, bathed in an ominous, toxic green glow. This is what I should have told you that night. It's the story of Bane, and how he breaks your back. The narrative then pivots to the moment the warning should have been delivered, a memory that haunts the speaker. The panels are dark, focused on the water and the technology of the Bat family. I should have warned you. I tried. I almost managed it. A panel displaying a radar screen flashes red, indicating an incoming critical threat. The location is recalled with dread. We were in the Batmobile, crossing the bay to that terrible place, and I started to tell you about him.
On an island known as Santa Prisca. It's a land constantly embroiled in conflict, for though the people successfully cast off the Spanish, the French, and the Dutch, the island is rich with resources that the world hungers for. Into this world of struggle, a boy is born, amidst the unending fight. His own father is a rebel leader, a man dedicated to the liberation of his homeland. This fight is generational, a continuous struggle waged by the rebel group, the Cielos Libres. They have been battling for Santa Prisca's freedom for over 100 years. The torch of rebellion has been passed down. The boy's grandfather led it, then his father, and now, eventually, it will fall to him. The fight never truly ends here. The flag of the rebel group, the Cielos Libres, features Santa Prisca's national bird, the royal quetzal. It's a species that dies in captivity, a symbol of freedom rising high into the sky. One day soon, the boy's father tells him, when we have won peace, that bird will fly free. Can you see it, my boy? Like his father, the boy loves the island with every cell in his body. He closes his eyes and tries, but no vision comes. Yes, father, he says, I see it. One night, the boy consumes the jojoba seeds, in a desperate hope of seeing his father's vision. He stares at the flag, but instead of the quetzal, he sees a terrible bird, white and burning, with a back like a skull. and he wakes up screaming. Years pass. The boy trains and studies. The group makes great strides and inroads under his planning. The burden of the rebellion and the terrifying vision remains with him. The story continues with the boy's development and the ongoing fight. Years pass. The boy trains, studies, and the group makes significant inroads under his meticulous planning. The moment they've been waiting for finally arrives. One Tuesday, the rebels launch a successful assault and take the capital. They manage to hold the city for 3 crucial days. The boy's father, seeing their victory, exclaims, "The moment is here!" But the triumph is tragically short-lived. On the 4th day, the outside world intervenes. Foreign troops are sent in, heavily armed and overwhelming. The rebel force is utterly defeated. The long-fought rebellion is crushed. The crushing defeat is followed by a brutal punishment. The surviving members of the Cielos Libre are sentenced to life in Peña Duro, an infamous prison located off Santa Prisca's coast. The boy and his father are among them. Inside the wretched facility, the boy's father remains fiercely hopeful. Looking toward the setting sun, he declares, "Peace will be won." He adds, "They will never break us." Every night, the cold tide floods the cells to the very tops, forcing the inmates to fight for small, gasping breaths among the dead things washing in and out. The boy is determined to survive and adapt. He learns to sleep hanging from the cage roof. He learns to pick jigger fleas from his skin in the morning. He is forced to eat rats for sustenance. One day, a computer is smuggled in. A picture of an actual quetzal is pinned to the screen, and the boy is horrified to see how small the bird is, weak-looking. The reality is a crushing disappointment compared to the symbol of magnificent freedom he once envisioned, the hardening of the cage. Despite the misery, the father's hope persists. Facing the setting sun, he continues to hold on to their dream, murmuring, "The quetzal will fly and we will not break." But time takes its toll. 3 years pass, 4. Some of the men do break. They turn on the father, but the boy is there to defend him, and he fights them off. 6 years pass. 7. The boy's own bird. Late one night, the father, hanging from the bars next to his son, asks a haunting question. "Can you see it?" The bird, flying free. 8 years pass. 9. The boy closes his eyes, and, instead of the quetzal, he recalls his own terrifying vision, the one made of white fire with the skull on its back. He knows his father is clinging to a symbol that doesn't belong to him. Still, to give his father strength, the boy lies. He raises his fist in solidarity with the other prisoners and says, "Yes, father." Wait, this panel appears to be a sudden shift in setting and tone. It looks like a jump forward in the story, possibly showing the character who was the boy now in action. It is clearly a different location than Peña Duro, perhaps Gotham City, or a similar urban setting. Here is the narrative for this new page. Patrol in the city. The scene shifts to a large, modern city, likely during a period of civil unrest or crisis. A voice from a military vehicle radios in, "Curfew patrol reporting station. Turkey Kur Oberir. Turkey Chinchon tourist clear to Union." A heavily armored patrol vehicle moves through the dark, empty streets. Inside, one of the heavily armed soldiers speaks. "Dave, what is it?" Down the alley. "Look." Another soldier spots a figure lurking in the shadows. He raises his weapon and shouts a warning. "Hey, you! No one is allowed to be out! Hey!" His warning is cut short as a massive red-clad figure erupts from the darkness, striking the soldier with incredible force. The soldier screams, "Ah!" as he is crushed by the assailant. This panel strongly suggests the boy from Santa Prisca is now a fully grown, powerful figure, the villain Bane, and he has arrived to enforce his own version of order on a new city. Do you have the next page that continues this new confrontation? The onslaught. The confrontation intensifies in the deserted city street. The massive figure's assault is met with immediate, desperate resistance. A soldier, possibly the one who shouted the warning, unleashes a burst of gunfire, his face contorted in fear and disbelief. His words echo his terror. "You get it yet, kid? You see what he is? Another soldier, identified as Anders, stands frozen, staring at the sheer power of their attacker. The air is filled with a terrifying, drawn-out scream. A, 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 G, H. As the bullets fly, the narrative focuses on the impact of the attack, describing the incredible speed and force of the hulking figure. I'll go faster because he's coming for you. Another soldier is shown scrambling for cover behind the wheel of the armored vehicle, desperately trying to avoid the onslaught. The invisible narrator heightens the tension by describing the sheer physical presence of the attacker. Can you feel it? The ground shaking beneath his boots, the air bending around his teeth. The final thought hangs in the air. He's almost there. It looks like we missed a page. This panel goes back to the story of the boy in Peña Duro prison, showing his final act of rebellion there, before his appearance in the city. Here is the narrative for this sequence, which details the prison breakout, the escape from Peña Duro. After 11 years in Peña Duro, the boy, now a man, and the other fighters put a plan in motion. Under the man's leadership, the prisoners prepare for a breakout using weapons they fashioned from the miserable remnants of the prison environment. Garrots made from dried fish guts and daggers sharpened from the tails of sea roaches. Under the boy's leadership, they do the unthinkable and take the prison. Outside, things are changing on Sana Prisca. Rumors circulate that the island has changed hands again, and conditions have only gotten worse. This is because new things are coveted from the island, rare earth elements in the bedrock. The men use the weapons and whatever they can find, including grenades, to blast their way to freedom.
As the escaped prisoners prepare to leave the island, the father speaks to his son, full of pride and delusion. The man is now wearing a mask made of the flag itself, the very symbol of the Quetzal they fought for. "You are the Quetzal, my son," he says. "You are the bird of our vision, of peace. Today is the day." However, the father is filled with a deep, silent grief. He is crying, though he hides his tears beneath his cap. The rebels climb into their rubber boats and begin to paddle away from Santa Prisca. "Yes," says the boy. In the final panel, the focus is on the boy's face. He is now a hulking man wearing a fearsome iron-toothed mask that is not the Quetzal flag, but the terrible skull-like bird of his own vision. This is the man who will become Bane. Standing defiantly between two armed men, he acknowledges his father's words one last time. Despite the lie inherent in his new identity, the man simply replies, "Yes," says the boy. The rejection of the deal. The man in white, likely an agent of a new powerful regime on Santa Prisca, continues his strange conversation with the newly freed rebel leader, offering his deal. From across the beach, the boy's father watches as his son talks with this strange man. The man in white wears a sinister, unsettling expression. Maybe it's his grin or the way he jokes with the boy, but never laughs. The women surrounding him are equally unsettling. The father is disturbed, thinking he could swear he sees things moving in their bellies. The father is just about to intervene when the man, who is now Bane, abruptly ends the conversation. Whatever the man was offering, it's over. The fully transformed, massive man stands stoically in his new mask and attire, having clearly rejected the offer and the attempted manipulation. And with that, the man in white smiles, tips his hat, and leaves.